Anastasia, thanks for joining today, and we're actually gonna talk about two different documentaries, both of them music related. I ended up watching CROCK of Gold, which is a documentary about the Pogues. It's directed by Julian Temple. It's over 2 hours long. It's released by Magnolia, and it's if you are a fan of the Pogues, it's definitely something that you'll want to watch. It's got a lot of incredible footage, and of course it's also got a little bit of footage from our dear friend Alex Cox, who worked with James McGowan and the Pogues when he shot Straight to Hell. And there's also electrifying footage of this event that really turned his life around, which is when he kind of got out of the loony bin and went to see a concert, and it was the Sex Pistols when they were just out the gate. And there's footage of Shane there in the front row watching the Sex Pistols, and it's amazing. But that doesn't happen until 50 minutes in. So it really does kind of go chronologically, and it's got, you find out about his childhood growing up, all his Irish roots, and his just all kinds of familial connections. But then it really starts to get into the music groove about the hour-long mark. And then it becomes a real wild ride. I'd actually say that it would probably be a good double feature with the Bukowski doc that we both reviewed a while back, because it's about two boozy poets, and with a lot of great footage. This was executive produced by Johnny Depp, who clearly put in some of the money that allowed him to get a lot of music clips. Again, if you are into punk music, if you are into the Pogues, or you just want to know more about kind of a boozy musician and his connections to Irish culture, this is one that I can highly recommend. Now, how about you? What is it that you ended up seeing?
I ended up watching The Changing Times of Ike White, who is somebody that I did not know anything about before watching, and it turns out not a lot of people know much about him either way, because he spent a lot of his time changing his name and going through a bunch of different periods in his life where he was just an elusive figure. So Ike White wrote an album in prison while he was serving a lifetime sentence for murder, actually. And so the documentary takes place, and it covers his time in prison, his time outside of prison, and time after his death as well. He died during the making of the documentary. So halfway through, it takes an interesting twist, where it just, it's more people telling stories about him instead of his own voice in it. So it brings in a lot of different dynamics. Another thing that caught my attention was, since his life outside of prison, he recorded his life very minutely through Polaroids and home videos. So to have access to that archive, I think really helped the film as well. So check it out if you're curious to see what life looks like with an album in prison and after.
So, and the full title of that documentary was what again?
The Changing Times of Ike White. And
what kind of music was it?
It was kind of arranged. It didn't talk too much about his, or it didn't go into detail about the record that he made in prison in terms of how it sounded sonically. But after he got out, he spent a lot of his time doing covers. So it's something I still have to look into, the music part. I was not very familiar with him beforehand, but.
Right. And thanks for watching that doc and for letting us know about it. For next week, tell you what, why don't we both watch Collective, which is a documentary that I've already seen it. I saw it at Sundance, at the last Sundance, and it was one of my favorite documentaries there. And I just found out that Rolling Stone released its top 20 picks for films released this year, and Collective is #1 And it as its starting point, it covers this concert in Bucharest that happened on October 30th in 2015, where there was a giant fire and it killed 27 people, injured 180 other people. And that is just the starting point. And it is a fascinating look into the importance of integrity in journalism, and as well as just like how damaging it is when there's corruption in politics that ends up really hampering the distribution of good medical care for the people who need it. So it's a really, really gripping documentary collective. So you can watch all three of these titles that we have just been talking about on internationalfilmseries.com. Again, a reminder, the distributors are being kind enough to split the proceeds at the gate with us, the International Film Series. So anyone who clicks on these, you're really doing us a solid. We really appreciate it. Anna, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining for these weekly rendezvous, and I'll see you again soon.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao.